kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lost, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Lights are out, you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your holding on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
From Daytona International Speedway, the OutLaw Sim Series is ready to get it on right here at the World Center of Racing. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, where we are on our maiden voyage here with the OutLaw Sim Series. Dave Regal at the ones and twos, everything in between, bringing you all of the action live right here on iRacing.com. Qualifying has completed, and these drivers are ready to rock and roll. We've got a long night of racing ahead of us. Of course, we've got a couple of heats to get through quick, and then we'll go to the 40-lap feature. We want to thank you for tuning in to Sim Racing Media, because I'll be with you every step of the way. From the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, glad to have all of you in with us tonight. Welcome into the Sim Racing Media family. And I am honored to take the microphone for the first time this season with the Outlaw Sim Series. Of course, my partner, Alan Bergen, who will be joining me the rest of the season. He has not been able to get here tonight due to a family obligation, so you will have nothing to do but listen to the golden tones of this voice right here on SRM. Heat number one is gritting up now behind the iRacing.com pace car, and let's go through the starting lineup. I want to thank all of these drivers for putting on a great show in qualifying tonight. As here in heat number 1, it's going to be Forrest Hamilton Jr. on the front row with Matthew Byers to the outside. Row number 2 is going to feature Josh Fox with Ben Park to his outside. Row 3 is going to feature Aiden Giordano and Morgan Sterling starting in 6th position. Adam Spear and Eric Peck there in 7th and 8th, with Jeremiah Stutzman, our biggest winner on the console side, starting in 9th position, with Merlin Duran in 10th. And starting shotgun on the field tonight going to be Mr. Devin Smith here in the number 95 Toyota Tundra, and 11 cars will take the green flag tonight. 15 cars will make it to the feature out of these 2 heats. Let's see what we get tonight as we get ready to rock and roll. Of course, 4 blistering turns here at Daytona International Speedway. Of course, the first specifically designed super speedway in our sport, and we can't be more proud to bring you all of the action. The iRacing.com pace car leading the field down pit road, as Forrest Hamilton's going to sit right here behind him. And, you know, all things considered, Hamilton, although he sits to the inside without a sponsor, we want to make sure that all of these drivers by the end of the season have a good sponsor on board. Of course, Josh Fox Motorsports on Josh Fox's number 2 Toyota Tundra, and a nice mix of Toyotas and Chevrolets tonight, although only one Ford F-150, and that is driven by Jeremiah Stutzman. Right here, that's the 88 and a Hang 10 car wash Ford F-150. Thank you for tuning in, folks. As I see a few of you already in here, make sure that you check in the YouTube.com live chat. We'll be monitoring that all night long. Forrest Hamilton here, getting ready to lead us to green. Out of Newark, and I'm not sure if it's Newark, Delaware, or Newark, New Jersey, so we'll have to get some clarification. Let's hope that it's Newark, Delaware. The iRacing.com pace car peels on down pit road. And that means, folks, we are green flag racing at Daytona International Speedway. Now, you folks that have joined me before on the air, you know that I've got a fun call to green, but we won't be doing that until the feature. So as that low line gets underway, let's take, a rub of the wall for the 8 already. That's Eric Peck. He's now going to be falling behind and losing that pack almost instantly. As now we roll that beautiful beam footage and bring up the scoring tower on the left-hand side of your screen. The 99 of Hamilton forming a nice line down here at the bottom. Now, the important thing at Daytona is to hug that double yellow line. And remember, you can't pass below that yellow line and advance a position. You can go below the yellow line and give up a position, but you cannot pass and gain a position below the double yellow line. That is out of bounds. 3 laps to go here in heat number 1, and as they come to the start-finish line, the deuce of Josh Fox pushing along the 99 of Forrest Hamilton Jr. As we have popsicle sticks in the air, 2 laps to go. That Busch Light car driven by Ben Park. No, I'm sorry, that's the 23 of Morgan Sterling here on the high side. It's going to take a lot of work tonight to try to compete here with Forrest Hamilton, as Hamilton seems to have gained all kinds of momentum. They've gotten nice and single file behind him. Get that pesky timing tower out of the way so we can get a better view of these trucks coming through turn 4. And back onto the front stretch, the popsicle sticks go down. The white flag is in the air, and we're racing back to checkers here in heat number 1. Eric Peck just laid down fast time at 47.49 in the 8. So after that earlier wall rub, now he gets himself drafted back up to the 88. We haven't seen anybody try to make their move just yet. And as they come through here side by side of the 21 and the 94, and it looks like maybe there's not enough momentum in the top side, and these trucks are really hard to get any kind of movement. As 3 wide they go. Watch the 88. It's going to suck the 04 micro setter machine up toward the 23, but they hold it steady. They're starting to fan out behind. They think they can make the move. Side by side goes the 94. 3 wide into the trioval. The 94 collects the 18 of the 23, and Forrest Hamilton Jr. walks away with the win here at the start-finish line, as it is just pandemonium at the line, and we're already going to go and grid up a while for heat number 2. Drivers gridding up now for heat number 2, and I see Dan Park here saying he thinks it's Newark, Ohio. I am not aware of a Newark, Ohio, but obviously there is one. If Dan knows. 10 cars going to be in heat number 2. And these trucks, this time a pair of Ford F-150s, Doug Solmus and Adam Gardner. Let's take a look at this starting lineup. Kyle Lingerfelt sits on the pole for heat number 2. He's going to be joined in the front row by Joshua Reese. Doug Solmus from north of the border is going to start on the inside of row 2 with Anthony Hamilton to the outside. Daniel Park is in 5th position, while Matthew Setzer is going to start in 6th. Adam Gardner is going to roll off on the inside of row number 4 in 7th position with Jonathan Byer out of the Texas division, starting in 8th position. Gary Clune and Joshua Ballier out of Pennsylvania, and we're going to have to find out where Joshua's from because, folks, in case nobody told you, I am a dedicated Pennsylvanian, and I absolutely have my favorites from this state. Joshua not providing his driver information. That's fine. We'll hold it against him later. As Kyle Lingerfelt going to lead the way. Another driver up here with no sponsorship on the side of that truck. So, folks, if you have a business that you would like to get some screen time, make sure that you reach out to Kyle Lingerfelt and get him a paint scheme. I see Josh Fox Motorsports number 1 from Joshua Reese on the outside there, as the iRacing.com pace car rolls us into turn number 3 here at Daytona International Speedway. Dave Rigo with you, as I will be all season long. The iRacing.com pace car bringing us in. Trucks coming out of turn number 4 onto the front stretch. The iRacing.com pace car gets ready to make that all-important hard left turn down pit road, as Kyle Lingerfelt gets ready to lead us to the green flag. Barney has that green flag in his hand. They hit the Geico restart zone, and we're underway in heat number 2. A 3-lap heat for these drivers as they get up to speed, and believe me, as we take a look here at the dashboard of Doug Solmus, we're going to watch these trucks, creep on up toward that 190 mark before they hit turn 4. Watch the run here. Joshua Reese's speedometer now in the right-hand corner of your screen, 183, 184, 85 into turn 3, nearly touching 190, as slicing underneath is Matthew Setzer. Now Setzer gets himself underneath here and wants to push the 1. That means he thinks he's got something real good, and I believe he does. Coming through the tri-oval, the popsicle sticks go in the air. We're 2 laps to go. Swinging to the inside aggressively is Kyle Lingerfelt. He hauls it down into turn 1 with the 4 of Anthony Hamilton on the high side. The 13 pushing the 4, that's Jonathan Byer. And don't look now, but the 67 of Doug Solmus in that international machine, now chasing down Kyle Lingerfelt. Solmus here, one of the only 2 F-150s, as well as Adam Gardner, who's holding on to that final spot in 10th position. Watching from behind as Joshua Reese gets the push now from the 5. We're going to go on board here with the 5. That's Matthew Setzer. Setzer giving a good push here to the rear end, and that Coke Zero number 1. Josh Fox down the side of that machine. They're getting a run coming into 1 and 2. Watch the bottom line. That bottom line's going to loosen up that high side, a lot of speed locked up there. Don't see any moves out of them yet, but watch them. They're starting to wiggle-waggle back up there. The 4 tries to cut underneath the 65. That's Anthony Hamilton. Hamilton now leads this race as he makes the turn in turn 3 and 4. He now throws a block in front of the 65. He wants the win. Let's watch them cross the start-finish line. The 1 car gets the edge, and Joshua Reese picks up the heat number 2 win, nearly going airborne as the 4, but he keeps it on all 4s as we get ready to grid up here for our feature race. I want to thank everybody for tuning in as we get ready to grid 40 laps the scheduled distance tonight here in our feature. I want to thank everybody for making us a part of their evening. I want to thank all of you for welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening as we get ready to go back to go Green Flag Racing. I want to thank our sponsor, Premier Setup Shop. We'll be hearing from them during the race as well. Of course, we also want to tip our helmet to Bay State Limousine, who's sponsoring tonight's duels. Drivers hopping into their race trucks now. Let's look at our starting lineup, shall we? 21 drivers ready to take the green flag that is now set the field with their heats. Forrest Hamilton Jr. and Joshua Reese, they're going to sit on the front row with Hamilton capturing the pole. Matthew Byers and Anthony Hamilton, they'll be in row number 2, while row 3 is going to feature Josh Fox and Matthew Setzer. Ben Park and Jonathan Byer, they're going to be back here in row number 4, while row 5 is going to feature Morgan Sterling and Kyle Lingerfeld. Row 6 is Jeremiah Stutzman and Joshua Ballier. We move a little bit further back in the field to Eric Peck and Doug Solmus. Aiden Giordano and Gary Kloon going to be in row 8, while row 9 is going to be occupied by Adam Spear and Daniel Park. Devin Smith and Adam Gardner are going to be starting 19th and 20th, and shotgun on the field tonight belongs to the one, the only, Merlin Duran. And I'm assuming he is not Duran, if you will. So 21 cars scheduled to take the green flag, 40 laps the scheduled distance. No breaks, no stages, just pure racing. And believe me, folks, this is the kind of racetrack where we're going to see a lot of drivers have to exercise some real patience because, you know, as we saw in those 2 heats, I mean, sure, those drivers, you know, got themselves in the right position, but there were only 3 laps in those heats. Now with 40, you're going to see a lot of guys have to settle in and consider maybe taking a quick moment and a deep breath before they let the animal out of the bag. Hamilton and Reese getting themselves set up. I see one driver that's a little off pace down here. That's the 8 machine of Eric Peck. Not sure what he's doing shuffling back. Maybe he wants to take a certain level of EOL. The iRacing.com pace car brings us out of turn number 4. And folks, right here on SRM in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, we do it like the great one, Tony Trapasso. The only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab your popcorn, your honey buns, and settle in. Race fans, it's show time! Green flag in the air, rock and roll we do at the World Center of Racing. Drivers going to be taking their time early on here. And nobody wants to be the first one to cause a caution. Let's hope that we can avoid that as we widen things out. We see the deuce now of Josh Fox deciding he wants to take a back seat. And this is something that you're going to see from a lot of these drivers, especially the ones that are really confident on these super speedways. Fox is going to hold this low line. He'll get back in the line. Don't worry. maybe the truck loosening up a little bit too much for him as he's going to have to come back up to speed. Meanwhile, up at the top of the pile, Joshua Reese, Anthony Hamilton, Forrest Hamilton, and Matthew Byers, they have all gone single file, anchored by Matthew Setzer. The 18 of Ben Park now leads a group here on the outside. Watch that high line. And they're just trying to get themselves under control up there. And believe me, while you're trying to get up to speed here at Daytona, it's almost imperative that you give yourself a couple of nice bumps. There it is from the 18. The 18 to the 94. Once you get yourself in a nice little rhythm, a bump, bump, turn, you're going to be okay. Jonathan Byer now giving a lot more room to the 18. That's going to set him up for a good run if he can catch the draft. Takes about 0.7 of a second difference between each of these cars. 0.07 of a second to get into their draft. So you can drive with that throttle less than full open. Now right now, Anthony Hamilton here atop the pile with Joshua Reese. Hamilton is using Reese kind of like what we would call a fuel pig. So Hamilton's back there, probably not even full throttle. Let's look at that throttle control down here in the left hand and the right hand side. And you can see a little bit of gap there. He's going to back off the throttle. But meanwhile, Joshua Reese leading the pack, he is full foot to the floor. Adam Spear in the 04 Micro Center Toyota Tundra. He's got himself the fast time of the race so far, and then all of a sudden hands it right over to Adam Gardner. Gardner with the 56 now in that Ford F-150 goes fast time. Folks, let us know in the YouTube.com live chat who you're pulling for and what you're watching in tonight's races. We're 4 laps in here at Daytona International Speedway. A nice clean start to the race. Drivers nice and patient so far, as Hamilton now in the 4, peaking both sides of the 1. He may be trying to burp that radiator and get a little bit of cool air. I don't know if we can see here from the cockpit any of those gauges. I don't see anything overheating right now to the left side of that tachometer. But he may have just burped that enough. Going on board here with Morgan Sterling in the 23. He's now looking to the inside of the 94. He's got the 5 and the 99 ahead of him. You can get down on that paint, but man, that paint, no matter how tough it looks, is slicker than slick. Oh, and throwing it down to the inside, good Lord, is the 99 of Forrest Hamilton. Hamilton here, as we look out the gearbox, has a rear view mirror full of the 1 of Joshua Reese, who's now bump drafting him. They have switched positions. So Hamilton in the 99 has cut his way to the front, and quite honestly, I don't see why not. 3 wide, deeper in the field. This is a little dangerous if you ask me. That's the 7 in the middle of that sandwich. You don't want to hear the spotter say 3 wide, you're the meat. So the 7 of Joshua Ballier out of Pennsylvania, he tucks himself back up onto the high side. But drivers just getting a feel for the racetrack. 7 laps in, just about a fifth of the way there, as that Wounded Warrior Project Chevrolet Silverado holds himself steady in 9th position, up 3 from where he had began. Big mover of the night so far is Doug Solmus in the 67, in one of our only 2 Ford F-150s. And I'll tell you what, that international paint scheme is something fancy. Taking a peek here at some of our some of our more interesting statistics since, of course, this is our first night. Jeremiah Stutzman here. Let's just look at this young man's pedigree, if you will, here in the 88 Hang 10 machine. Stutzman has 5 Outlaw championships. He has 3 iRacing wins overall, but 135 console wins. The next closest driver isn't even out here tonight, and that's Justin Wood. Wood has 63, but 135 career wins on console for Jeremiah Stutzman. What an impressive feat that is. As they cross the start-finish line here on lap number 9, Joshua Reese has the lead and control of this race, diving down in front of the 99 of Forrest Hamilton. Taking a look here at Matthew Byers. Now, he started up in 3rd position. He slid back into 5th. And, you know, we can really try to analyze, you know, positional movements and things like that. But, you know, here's the thing. This early in a race, you know, now just 10 laps in, you really can't get a good feel for what you see so far. We're only about a quarter of the way through here. And, you know, you get a feel from here up toward the spotter tower just how big this place is. I mean, that's why you see spotters with binoculars at Daytona. And, you know, even from here in the stands, you know, this place is just enormous. And, I mean, we're set up just beyond the start-finish line at the end of pit road. We see all those fans with their arms in the air. I'm assuming half of them are screaming, "Raise hell, praise Dale." "11 laps in the books as Joshua Reese brings us out of turn number 4 back toward the start-finish line. Little connection issue back deeper in the field, but it's not affecting us. "12 laps now, and watch that high side. Matthew Byers getting himself nice and settled in. You know, and you're going to see this 3 wide. Good Lord, I said nice and settled in. I didn't say do crazy things. Not sure who that is on the outside. That's the one. That's the one of Joshua Reese who's decided he's had enough of riding around up front. He wants to drop back. Now, the interesting thing is going to be watching him knife his way back up here. And believe me, there are Colombian drug dealers that wish that they could cut like that, like it takes to get through Daytona. Fender to fender go the 65 and the 94. Now the 94, I'm sorry, giving a good push here to the 5 of Matthew Setzer. Let's go on board with Setzer now, looking out the rear. Setzer out of Davie, driving here in the Outlaw Sim Series. Putting on a good show tonight so far for you folks at home. Let us know in the YouTube.com live chat who you're pulling for, who your favorite drivers may or may not be. Talk smack. Let us know. This is my first night here in this league, so I need to know who to hate. Gary Clune here in the Denny Hamlin lookalike car. Quite frankly, I think it's awful that FedEx has sponsorship, but UPS gave theirs up. Morgan Sterling here in the 23. They're getting ready to lap the first driver of the night. That's going to be the 8 machine of Eric Peck, who now is going to have to let the field go by. And believe me, to be the driver coming through the tri-oval like this, when you have the whole pack with you, is absolutely nerve-wracking. I know that because I was an awful driver once upon a time. I'm not saying that Eric Peck is. Here in the Firehouse Subs number 8 Chevrolet Silverado, I simply know that I was a terrible driver, and that was nerve-wracking when they would come through the tri-oval and I'd just be getting back up to speed, or if I somehow managed to lose the draft, which super speedways I was usually okay with back in the day, but otherwise it was like having a leopard give you a facial. It just doesn't work. Now the 8 machine trying to hook onto the back of the 88 and get himself towed in here. He may or may not be able to hang on. Perhaps not necessarily hang 10, if you will. See what I did there, folks? Ben Park in the 18 started running just where he started in 7th position, now slipping up into 6th for the time being. And, you know, one of the hardest things about, you know, Daytona is you can be in 6th position 1 minute, the lead the next, and dead last 2 laps later. You know, this is just that kind of a racetrack where things happen at such a speed and at such frequency that, you know, it's hard to sit there and say, oh, he's having a good night, he's gained, you know, like Morgan Sterling up here, 8 positions. But, you know, don't get me wrong, it takes a lot of work to get up there into the lead. But now you got to hold it. And you have to ask yourself, how long do you want to hold it? Josh Fox in the deuce, now dropping below that double yellow line. Now remember, it's only illegal to gain a position, not illegal to give up a position. From below that yellow line, the 23 of Morgan Sterling. Coming out of turn 4 here on lap number 17. I'm guessing we're going to see a lot of drivers try to make this a one-stop race. If we can get to about lap 23, I would say 23, 24, 25, we're going to see some drivers come in. They don't want to come in right at that halfway mark because if you have any green-white checker situations at the end of the race, you want to make sure that you've got that fuel. And this racetrack, not abusive on your tires. You know, generally when you come in and you look at that, you know, after 18 laps, you might still be at quote-unquote 100% on all fours. Now Matthew Stetzer takes over the lead. He cycles past Morgan Sterling, and the 94 of Matthew Byers still stays on the high side. Lingerfelt now running in 8th position, up 2 from where he had begun. But a couple of unsponsored trucks in there. So folks, if you are tuning in and you want to get your message out there, your business, make sure that you reach out to these drivers of the 99 and the 65. We want to make sure that those trucks have some kind of cool paint scheme, that's for sure. Got to say I'm partial to the Firehouse Subs, except that here in Philadelphia we call them a hoagie. In fact, there's our poll for the night. Do you call a sandwich a hoagie or a sub? And if you call it a sub, why? Ding dong, into the broadcast booth comes dinner for the evening. A little pulled chicken and macaroni and cheese. For those of you that eat like a 12-year-old, Our lovely production assistant, Lindsay, just delivering dinner here. Fabulous. Matthew Byers running this race now from the lead in that City Chevrolet Silverado. Halfway through now here at lap number 20. With 20 to go, we cross the start-finish line and we are officially beyond the halfway point. As we've gone so far 22 laps without a caution. I'm not trying to jinx that. In fact, let me knock on wood and everything else. That's like talking about a no-hitter while it's going on. One of the things I'm expecting to see here happening all at once, as I have to clean barbecue sauce off me, because not only do I eat like a 12-year-old, I keep myself clean like one, is we're going to see all of these trucks come in almost simultaneously. They can't go a full 40 laps. And just like that, I jinxed it. And we go under caution. See if we can find where this broke out. Oddly enough, that's going to bring us right to pits. Oh, it started with the 94. Matthew Byers up here. Let's see if we can get this lined up nice. Let's watch the 94 just behind the 5. They seem to be okay. Oh, the 13 hooks them. And half the field gets erected. So as drivers get themselves sorted back out here, it's going to be wholesale pit stops. 4 freshies, a full tank of Go Fast. As Matthew Setzer is going to be the one to lead them down pit road. We're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. But don't go away. We'll keep it right here and go NASCAR side by side on Sim Racing Media.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh my
and to
goodness.
the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. Matthew Setzer now cycles up into the race lead after our only caution so far tonight through 25, now 26 laps with 15 laps to go in this race. This is still up for grabs by anybody. The iRacing.com pace car bringing us down the backstretch and into turn number 3. It's going to be an interesting go around here. The iRacing.com pace car peels on down pit road. Matthew Setzer hits the Geico restart zone. He drops the hammer, and we're back underway. Two by two, Noah's Ark style coming out of turn 2 down the backstretch. Drivers getting themselves lined up here as we go back green flag racing and hurl it down into turn 3. Matthew Setzer getting a nice push from Forrest Hamilton Jr. Let's go on board here with Jr. As we ride along with Forrest Hamilton here, we see that he's giving just enough room in the turn so that he's not, trying to loosen up that rear bumper, because that could be dangerous for everybody and their cousin. We come through the tri-oval, and you're going to see maybe a little bit more of a push here toward turn 1. He's going to get that nose right up against the rear bumper, and he's going to back off again coming into 1. Now what this is going to do is set him up for a really, really nice push coming onto the backstretch. Watch him go. Now all of a sudden we're going to see that Chevrolet logo disappear from that rear bumper. A little push here. Now if it was me, you stay in the throttle and you shove as hard as you can down into turn 3, but he backed off. He doesn't want to upset the apple cart at this stage in the race. Daniel Park, meanwhile, if we look here at the 3 machine, that pink truck here to the outside. That Chevrolet with the Bass Pro Shops on it is holding his own right now and up 10 positions. Our biggest mover of the night is Adam Gardner in the 56. We haven't talked about him since we first came in. And he has the Bay State Limousine Ford F-150 up here to the outside of the High Line. The 56 has a nice push now from the 94 of Matthew Byers. Byers in his City Chevrolet Silverado being helped along now by the 65 of Kyle Lingerfeld. They work here with 11 laps to go. Peeling off and coming down pit road is Adam Spear. I don't think he's serving a penalty, but I can't tell yet. Let's see what happens with him. And he's just holding on pit road. This may be a penalty being served. We'll have to keep a close eye on it. Sees it 22 seconds, 24. They're still out here battling. Or maybe he's getting repair done. I'm not sure what's going on there with the 04. And he remains. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't thank our sponsor tonight here. Of course, right now, the 56 is doing Bay State Limousine fantastically, as they have sponsored our race tonight here at the Duels of Daytona. He's got that thing cranked up to crazy on the high side. He holds his line. He's not going to drop down and block the 5. You could argue that maybe you want to. But at 185 miles per hour going through the tri-oval, he just wants to keep all 4 wheels underneath him until he sees that white flag in the air. He's in a great position to try to hold that through the end of this race. Dave Regal with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. And since you folks coming in with us are new tonight, we want to talk about our good friend Tony. As Jay Adams 1127 says, go everybody but ballet. I believe he means ballet. But Tony Trapasso, whose memorial broadcast booth we sit in, was he was an incredible friend. He was one of our team members here at Sim Racing Media who passed away almost 2 years ago, back in September of 2023, September 5th, as a matter of fact. And there's a guy who would, who would give you everything he had and even stuff he didn't have to see that you had everything that you needed. And when it came to a good person to talk to when you were going through something, he was your guy. When it was somebody who needed to deliver a laugh, he was your guy. And through the very end, he literally broadcasted the race and passed away the very next morning. He broadcasted the race sick. He had been going through kidney failure, and his dialysis was no longer working, and he wouldn't take a transplant from somebody he knew. He couldn't do that to that person. But Tony Trapasso lives on in this broadcast booth, and we miss him every day. It's why we open our races the way that we do. It's why we will close the curtain tonight the way we will. And it's why sitting in this chair is the privilege of a lifetime. And for the record, Tony hated watching anything at Daytona. So this is just enough for me to needle at him, even in the grave. Andrew St. Cour says, looks like fun. Wish I could have made it tonight. Good luck. The final few laps, fellas. Yep, we are now at that 5 to go mark. Gary Clune here. I'm assuming Andrew St. Cour, also one of our neighbors from the north, I'm guessing. So, Andrew, if you're paying attention, let me know. Are you a Toronto Maple Leafs fan and ashamed of it? I, of course, am a Philadelphia Flyers fan and also ashamed of it. Matthew Byers takes over the race lead from Adam Gardner and now gets the low line. A good run here on the bottom. He's going to take that for quite some time, it seems. He's going to have to hold on to it because he has no way to block the 56 who gets a run to the outside. We widen things out to the blimp cam, and right now the best chance to watch a block is going to be if the 65 pushes the 56. They don't, and now teammates in the 65 and the 99 side by side coming down the backstretch. And they are whipping. They are whipping, and we are getting ready to go 3 wide deeper in the field. They were thinking about it. We're starting to see some of these drivers, if they were gunfighters in the Old West, they'd have itchy finger. Also something you can catch if you don't wash your hands. Like maybe if you go up there and hang out in the corn crib with the wrong girl. 3 wide, watch the 56. The Bay State Limousine machine holding his own. They're wrecking in the rear. We stay green, we stay green. 3 laps to go. I can't believe we're staying green. We've got cars sideways all over the racetrack, and there it is. That's going to trigger NASCAR overtime and our first green-white checker of the season. Anyway, to finish the thought, if you go into the corn crib with the wrong girl, you're going to come out with itchy finger. Let's take a look at this again. The 3 hooks the 7, and it just devolves from there now. The worst part is, if you look right there, the 7 actually has himself a connection issue amidst all of this. And the 4, it almost looked like the 95 just punted him. Let's see if we can go back to that. We're going to see if we can go back to that action with the 95 because the 4 never reappears, at least that we can see. And on board we go. And poof, gone. Let's see if we can find out what happened to the 4. He's down here on the infield. At the time the caution came out, the 4 wasn't even connected. So he was just spinning helplessly and caught in a fury of netcode, which, of course, my partner on a Sunday night would absolutely be screaming netcode at the top of his lungs. NASCAR overtime in control now. What that means, folks, is when we come back to the green flag, we will have 2 laps to go. If a caution should come out before the white flag, we will rack them, stack them, and do it all over again. However, if we do get around back to the white flag, the next flag will end the race, whether that flag is yellow or checkered. And Andrew St. Coeur is watching hockey right now, as a matter of fact. I was just taking a guess. I mean, we don't have too many French-sounding names in iRacing unless you're from Louisiana. So I had a 50-50 shot, either Louisiana or somewhere up in Quebec. Just a really good guess. Also, if you have absolutely nothing to watch on television tonight, you can watch a Major League Baseball game played in a minor league ballpark just outside of Tampa at Steinbrenner Field, as the Tampa Bay Rays are awful. When we go back green flag racing, it's going to be Matthew Byers, Matthew Seltzer, Forrest Hamilton Jr., Adam Gardner, Kyle Lingerfelt, Gary Clune, Aiden Giordano, Daniel Park, Doug Solmus, and Jeremiah Stutzman making up your top 10. And here's the thing. Still, with that number of laps left, it's anybody's race. One bad thing, and you can go from 15th to the lead in the blink of an eye. We watched Dale Earnhardt Jr. do it in a Cup car back in 2001 in the July race, going from 6th to 1st. We've seen it dozens of times, and the beer guy is patrolling the stairs at Steinbrenner Field. Not that anybody but me cares. I did buy a beer from him at spring training, so I feel like I gave him some of his pay that day. The iRacing.com pace car ready to peel on down pit road. As we approach the Sunoco Racing Fuel sign, he bails to the left. Matthew Byers with control of the field hits the Geico restart zone. The popsicle sticks go in the air. We're 2 laps to go. NASCAR overtime engaged. Two laps to go, and it's going to take at least a lap and a half for these trucks to get up to full speed the way that they're geared. That 4th gear is very long, and so is the rest of this race. The 94 of Matthew Byers and the City Chevrolet Silverado just ahead of the 99 of Forrest Hamilton Jr. I haven't seen anybody fan out yet, but there they go. 3 wide. It's going to gobble up the 5 of Matthew Setzer. He's going to get a snootful from Daniel Park. 2 rows, 3 by 3, and now Park in the 3 is pushing the 5 of Stetzer. We come out of turn 4. Hold your breath, folks, because the popsicle sticks go down. The white flag is in the air. We are racing back to checkers. 3 by 3, please. Noah couldn't handle this on the arc. Matthew Setzer with the lead coming into turn 1. He's going to get a run underneath him from the 99 and the 94. Now all of a sudden Byers has the lead. The 3 machine of Daniel Park holding on for dear life. We're going to see him. He's going to be the guy. We're going to watch him make the aggressive move. We're going to widen things out here to the blimp cam. We don't want to miss a breath. Contact. The 94 gets shoved down below the double yellow line. They're wrecking in the rear. They stay pointed forward. We stay green flag racing. Now they're wrecking off the track as the checkered flag comes out there. 3 wide at the line. The 88 comes across, and Jeremiah Stutzman picks up the win here in the Outlaw Sim Series Duels at Daytona here on Sim Racing Media. Now, I want to say here about Jeremiah Stutzman, let's go back to that green flag. When that green flag flew here, you need to see, actually, let's go back to the white flag. When the white flag comes out, the 88 is scored somewhere back in and around 10th. All of this has to happen. We're going to watch this final lap. But the 88 has to be nothing but patient. So we're going to ride here, watch the high line behind the 11 and the 56. They're bumping and banging in front of him. Remember, Rubbin's racing, but here at a super speedway, that can cost you a race. The 11 catches the wall, takes a little bit of the wind out of his sails, and again, the 88 hanging back, being patient. This is how Stutzman picked up the W. They come into turn 4. The 94 makes contact. That clears out the trash from behind the 88. I'm not saying they're trash drivers, but now the 11 bounces off the wall again, and the 88 makes his move at just the perfect time. Maybe a little bit of net code as he tightens up the 56 at the last possible second and picks up the win here for the duels at Daytona. What a great finish to this race tonight. Only a couple of drivers not able to finish tonight's race. As we see if anybody's going to come into the interview room. And we'll give the drivers just a few moments, but what a great finish we had tonight. We're going to take a quick peek here at our final results while we wait. And we see that here right in the middle of your screen. Jeremiah Stutzman picks up the W and captures the checkered flag after a great green-white checkered run. What great driving from these guys out here on track tonight. Adam Gardner and Daniel Park going to join him on the podium here for the first time tonight, and I'm assuming certainly not the first time this season, or the last time this season. Matthew Byers and Aiden Giordano, they finish out your top 5 with Morgan Sterling, Josh Fox, Joshua Ballier, Matthew Setzer, and Joshua Reese rounding out the top 10. Ben Park comes home in 11th with Gary Clune and Devin Smith in 12th and 13th. Doug Somas, Forrest Hamilton, and Kyle Lingerfeld, they go down through your top 16. And Anthony Hamilton, Jonathan Byer, Merlin Doran, and Adam Spear with Eric Peck rounding out the rest of your field. And now hopping in to the waiting room is Jeremiah Stutzman, as we're going to see if I can get him moved on up here. I do not have the authority to move him. So, drivers, I can't move you up into the booth for an interview, so if I'm going to start with Jeremiah, if Dan and Adam could just kind of hold it down for a few moments. Jeremiah, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Buddy, listen, congrats on the finish tonight. A great way to start the season off. I mean, for starters, you absolutely exercised perfect patience on the final lap. How do you bring yourself here to victory lane like that?
That's kind of what I do. A lot of people get aggressive at these tracks, and I like to sit at the back and kind of let things work out towards the end. And I had my teammates up there on the top on that last restart, and I just followed them through. And then I'm not real sure what happened off 4, but the middle one got taken out. I think the 11 got taken out there, and it gave me a shot off the corner there that I was able to get the run, and we got a 1-2 out of it at least.
Yeah, I mean, when the 11 bit the wall there on the outside, that kind of opened the floodgates for you. He really cleared out everything in front of you and just, literally laid a nice smooth stretch of asphalt for you to get up there into the lead. So, great patience out of you tonight. I mean, that explains why you have 135 wins on the console side. When I saw that stat, I just stared at it for a moment. And I mean, I cover a lot of races here on iRacing.com, and I've never seen anybody with 135 console wins. Like, that's impressive. Dude, you are the man tonight.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Well, listen, congrats on the win. Before I cut you loose, who do you need to thank and give a shout-out to and tip your helmet to?
just want to say thank you to all my teammates there, and there's a couple of guys, Reese, Fox at the back of the field there that kind of kept us up there in the draft where we didn't lose it. Just you guys broadcasting and everybody keeping it a pretty clean race. It was fun.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, listen, congrats once again, and we will see you next week.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to bounce back up here to the broadcast booth, as now it looks like somebody did give me permissions. So let's go ahead here and grab Adam Gardner. Hey, Adam, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Gotcha.
Buddy, listen, a good finish tonight, really rough. I mean, look, you had the title sponsor on the side of the machine, and, overall, a really good performance, but it's got to be a little, depressing to realize that you lost by just that much.
A little bit of a bummer, yeah, but I wouldn't say depressing. Overall, it was a lot of fun. And, yeah, I didn't realize you didn't have those permissions, so I went ahead and fixed them real quick while you were with Jeremiah.
Much appreciated.
Not a problem. But, yeah, hopefully everybody that watched liked the introduction to us tonight with you guys. And I was listening in there during the heats when I was waiting for mine and really liked what I was hearing. So definitely looking forward to this season. I think it's going to be a really fun one. Great time out there on the track. Both heats, the guys showed a lot of respect and patience with each other, and we're smart about things. And same thing with the race. And really couldn't be more pleased for how the Clash went for an opener. We've always had a history of good races, and tonight was definitely not a disappointment and no different than what I think people can look forward to through the season.
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words. I mean, you'll get nothing but the best out of yours truly. But, what I saw on the track tonight was incredible from this league. And I cover a lot of races. And to go through Daytona and only have a couple of cautions over 40 laps in trucks is just this side of a miracle. So maybe you guys should start voting for Pope, too. Obviously, you can make the right choices on the racetrack, too. But, listen, congrats once again on the P2 finish. Who do you need to thank and give a shout-out to tonight?
First and foremost, I want to thank all the drivers out here that show up and put in their effort on the track, because at the end of the day, it's 100% group effort, everybody doing the right thing. I want to thank you guys for bringing it to all the people that are watching, and anybody that's watching, appreciate you guys for checking us out. And hopefully you like what you saw and you enjoy what you see for the rest of the season. Bay State Limousine on the truck. If you need any kind of limousine, sedans, airport service, nights out, proms, anything like that, give them a call. They serve the greater New England area based in Massachusetts. And they've always been a big backer of us. And want to give a shout out to the team over there at Mike Harmon Racing. We've been a part of a good partnership with them for the last 5 years. And anyone that's looking to get involved with the real deal side of the sport, check them out. And nice hardworking group of guys over there. And I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, this being our first time together, but definitely enjoyed it. Definitely looking forward to it, and hope everybody else out there did.
All right, my friend, listen, once again, congratulations on the P2 finish. We will see you next week.
Thank you.
That the voice of Adam Gardner, and last but certainly not least, finishing third on our podium tonight is Daniel Park. And, of course, now all of a sudden iRacing decided it had enough tonight. But, Daniel, it's Dave up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Buddy, listen, a great finish tonight. Overall, I mean, you start back in 18th position. You find yourself here in third at the end. That's a lot of work for anybody.
Yeah, it was definitely a chaotic race.
It's Daytona. It's the first race of the season. I'd be concerned if you said it was average.
It's just really hard to pass when everybody's all bundled up together like we were.
No, I get it for sure. I mean, again, it's restrictor plate racing. It's the first race of the season, and it's Daytona. I mean, people are ready to, for blood, just to get a win at Daytona. So, And I think that you guys all, yourself included, exercised a lot of control out on the racetrack. Is that what you expect to see the rest of the season?
Yeah, this is a great group of guys. I expect to see a lot of patience and car control, especially in these trucks. They're not the hardest to drive in general.
No, that's for sure. Well, they are pretty stable, and especially in a super speedway. But sometimes with the crazy person behind the wheel, that can change a lot. But you guys have a long history here in the Outlaw Sim League, so overall, a great performance out of you tonight. Before I cut you loose, who do you need to thank and tip your helmet to tonight?
Well, I gotta thank the guys at on the JFM team. I'm glad Josh brought me back to run with them. Thank Adam for putting it on. You for the broadcast, and the other guys in the Discord that I was with, helping work together.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, listen, congrats once again, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
That the voice of Dan Park, driver of the number 3 machine. We want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight and making us a part of your evening. We want to thank you for welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be, and however you may be listening. And tomorrow and every day as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.